Here we go. Good morning. Welcome to Soup and Meatballs. There's my man Tim. I'm Max. Today on Soup and Meatballs, get your Carolina Blue hoodies in time for Christmas. Two of the best teams from our home state clash tomorrow, and someone needs to build Juan Soto a money vault like Scrooge's on DuckTales. But first off, Tim, how was your week?
Not a bad week. Getting ready for Christmas. How about you? How are things over there?
The last full week of school. I mean, I'm at that point where I would like the couple weeks off, and the shopping that gets done, it's different this year in 2024 versus what it was in 2007, right? Like, there's no malls, everything's online, which means the mail carriers, the postage workers, they're working hard. They really I know nothing about the world of the U.S. Post Office or FedEx or those people, but the amount of stuff I see on my front porch every day, it's nuts.
You want to hear a weird coincidence, by the way?
I want to hear a weird coincidence.
The guy who created
FedEx now?
the guy who created Space Ghost Coast to Coast and voiced Brack, Andy Merrill.
Brack, yes.
He is a delivery driver for Amazon now. He doesn't get much residual money from Cartoon Network, and he took a job driving for Amazon.
I can't imagine the last time I heard the word Brack and thought of,
It's been a good 25 years.
So
yeah.
I mean, he's not pulling in residuals like Jesse Ventura is. So
right, he didn't create SpongeBob, but still, you'd think he'd have some decent money.
Maybe he's bored. He needs something to do, and Amazon gives him the opportunity to drive around, listen to the radio.
Actually, I'd like to believe that's true.
Yeah, but this time of year, holy cow, forget about it. They're all
in the cold and carrying people's gifts and
stuff, whatever it is. Yeah. So there's that, and so my wife and daughter just went out the door. Like you heard them before we went live. They're on their way to see Wicked again. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Did you get a chance to see it?
Still have not seen it.
Good. Before it leaves theaters, man, because trust me, it's a good show. And we can talk about the parallels between Wicked and the sports world, because there are a couple.
I'm still skeptical of 5 hours of Wicked content from a 2.5 hour stage show, though. I'm worried it's going to be bloated.
Well, I was entertained, put it that way, and then the visuals are nice, and that's something. And I don't think it was bloated. Yeah, that's Roseanne, because she I'm sure she's seen it, and she knows the stage show, and she'll look at it like Jen and her will look at it through a different. I just went to get entertained, and I left irritated in a way that you watch professional wrestling and get irritated. Like when you're 12 years old and the $1 Million Man kicked the ball, or Virgil kicked the ball, you're you dirty bird. That's the kind of irritation I'm talking about. Not like this was a waste of my time.
If you can guarantee me right now that Ariana Grande puts someone in a sharpshooter, I will go right after we're done with this episode.
Believe it or not, Ariana Grande would not be the baby face. In my estimation, she's more of a heel.
So she might be giving someone some sweet chin music.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is fitting. It's a musical.
With the high-heeled shoes, and she catches somebody in the eye with the But
now we're just writing Wicked / WWE fan fiction.
I think
I would watch, by the way. I would 100% watch that.
I think it works. So if you're watching and you want to see WWE meets Wicked, we can do some kind of collaboration there. But first, let's move on to our top story. And just when you thought we'd be done talking about Michigan and Ohio, just this week there was actual, get this, legislation in the Ohio State House of Representatives that would make the planting of a flag, not just just any flag, at Ohio Stadium's 50-yard line a felony. Ohio State Representative Josh Williams introduced a bill Tuesday that would classify flag planting a 5th-degree felony. And I actually have some video So let's check out the state representative from Ohio talking about
Better
this.
Williams. They're calling us soft.
I don't care.
Red Barhorse, what do you think of this legislation?
Who's?
Williams, to ban flag planting.
I think sportsmanship should be cool again. I mean, he's just trying to help us out.
Sportsmanship is be cool. Is that what we're about? Is this what we've become on Capital Square? Sportsmanship.
If I have to be called soft to preserve the integrity of our institutions and
You're an institutionalist now?
And prevent our law enforcement officers from getting injured from a violent encounter on the field because of a damn flag, I don't mind being called soft for that.
Like in your arrested charge book right there.
You don't have to get arrested in Ohio when it comes to a felony. You can get a direct indictment. You can get a bill of information. You don't have to technically get arrested.
Yeah.
So I mean, I deal with that on a daily basis, and 9 times out of 10, if it ever got charged, it'll get reduced down to a misdemeanor and a fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, Ryan Day is soft. Do you think Ryan Day should
He needs to go.
He needs to go.
He needs to go.
Okay.
I would have fired him on the field.
Oh. there.
Our friends at Rooster, Ohio on TikTok, courtesy of that video there. So, I mean, this has to be the most ridiculous thing that an actual lawmaker is worried about. Am I wrong?
Well, he's trying to score cheap political points, but to his credit, at least someone in Ohio is trying to score points.
I like that. I like that.
And also, does it specify, like, what if someone plants an American flag at midfield?
I didn't read the actual bill, but I think it had something to do with a piece of cloth on a pole. So yeah, I don't think you could plant Old Glory at the 50-yard line. So if the revolutionaries from New England attack Columbus, I don't think they're taking over the shoe.
So first of all, let me say I could not love this more. Like, just when I thought this win couldn't be more satisfying, it's like when you have a great meal and you're like, oh my God, I couldn't eat another bite. And then someone brings out like a cheesecake and you're like, oh my God, like this is the best meal ever. Like, this is just the gift that keeps on giving.
It's the Christmas season and Josh Williams coming out.
It's like a turducken of greatness. There's just
I don't know who the other
great.
I don't know who the other guy in the video was, but when he said we should make sportsmanship cool again, in what world? When a week after the quarterback sneak against Indiana, we're going to talk about sportsmanship now.
And where does it stop? Like, if players don't shake hands at the 50 for the coin toss, is that a misdemeanor now?
Well, what game was that? Because that happened.
That was Iowa, Nebraska, was it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And then Iowa came out and won.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's happened before. Like Penn State and Maryland had a situation where Maryland wouldn't shake Penn State's hands because they were, I don't know. But yeah,
or like Kansas did it when Baker Mayfield was at Oklahoma. You see it from time to time. What about like excessive end zone celebrations? Are we going to legislate that?
Don't give the NFL any ideas.
Well, you already can't. If you do anything vaguely related to a gun. Never mind that the Patriots have a guy dressed as a Revolutionary soldier with a rifle.
With a musket, yeah. Who was the guy? I think it was a Houston Oiler that used to do that back in the day. He pulled out the two guns.
Yeah, I know the Patriots guy is Patriot Pete, I believe.
No, there was an actual player for Houston who would pull out his end zone celebration. This was, I think, in the 70s or 80s.
Was it Billy White Shoes Johnson?
Sure. And if you say it with enough conviction, people will believe you.
It was Billy White Shoes Johnson.
But that's how far we've moved here in the last 30, 40 years, where it's now a class 5 felony. Now, the congressman said, likely get dropped to a misdemeanor. But a 5th-degree felony in the state of Ohio includes a maximum sentence of 6 to 12 months in prison and a fine of up to $2,500, and the court can impose 5 years of what's called community control. I don't know if that's community service or anything like that. Can you imagine someone from Ohio's home schedule next year? I don't know who's coming in, but if, let's just say Iowa, for argument's sake, Iowa comes in, they decide they want to plant the flag, and like their starting quarterback and now owes 5 years of community service to the borough of Columbus.
And I'll tell you, I have 2 other thoughts on this. The first, and we talked about this when we were texting about it. It only specifies that this is illegal at Ohio State for Ohio State. You can't do this in Columbus.
Bowling Green, Cincinnati, nobody cares.
Yeah, I think Michigan fans should go to like Youngstown State, Cincinnati, and just start planting Michigan flags outside the stadium. I think that would be the funniest thing in the world.
I think the legislation says the 50-yard line. So outside, you can plant a Michigan flag outside Columbus Stadium.
I forgot what my other question was just going to be. Oh well,
it'll come to you when we're talking about something else. But
yeah, we'll be talking about Juan Soto, and I'll be like, oh, another thing about Ohio State. I just remembered. I wonder what the reaction, like inside the athletic program, was to like. They just want this loss to go away as quietly as possible. They can't wait for the college football playoffs to get hopefully a win under their belt and change the conversation. And for this guy to make Ohio State look even softer is the worst thing he could have done for Ohio State football.
I want to see Tennessee come and plant the flag.
I want to see him plant a Michigan flag.
That would even be funnier if the legislature only specified Michigan and Tennessee came in and planted a Michigan flag. I think Tennessee would just be happy to get out of Columbus with a win because that's going to be a very tough game for both teams, I think.
What if Tennessee goes out there and plants an Ohio State flag? Then they won't know what the hell to do.
Oh, just like the movie you watched last night, Clark. It's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
We're retroactive. The Japanese are retroactively citing the U.S. Marines for what they did at Iwo Jima. That was over the line, guys.
Unbelievable stuff. So, the next time, our next show, who knows what kind of Michigan Ohio State buffoonery will happen, but. Believe it or not, we're going to stay in college here again. And earlier this week, North Carolina, of all schools, made a big splash with their coaching hire, Bill Belichick. The hoodie himself is coming to Chapel Hill, reaching a 5-year, $50 million deal with school administration. Apparently, he brings with him a 400-page document, which he's referring to as the program Bible, which would require historic levels of investment from the school. Tim, first off, is this a good move for both parties? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think Belichick for the last year has done nothing but thought about what he was going to do in his next job. Like, what else does that guy have to do? Like, he didn't take up woodworking. You know, he wasn't like, oh, you know, now I finally have time to catch up on old episodes of Monk.
They're doing stained glass.
Yeah, he's been thinking about this for a year. And I think he is going to have – I'm not saying he's going to have the success of a Nick Saban. I'm just saying I think he can have that kind of – like he can bring that kind of mindset to North Carolina where –
That's the next question I had. What does success look like in North Carolina?
I think success at North Carolina is being in the college football playoff within 3 to 4 years.
I think that's at minimum because that means you've made it to the ACC title game. I mean, based on what you've seen with, Clemson and SMU, making the ACC title game is a ticket to the playoffs.
And here's the thing. People are like, oh, I can't imagine, Bill Belichick in a living room recruiting people. With he's a pipeline to the NFL.
Yeah,
there are players who are going to want to come there because he is going to have them playing on Sundays.
Here's the thing. Like, I think Belichick put on auras for the media. And I think the whole we're on to Cincinnati thing took on a life of itself. If you listen to some of his past players, like the Mike Brewskis, not the Mike Brewski, Ted Brewski, and the Mike Vrabels of the world, and the Ty Laws, like they have a different perspective on what Coach Belichick is. Bill Belichick on the media platform, I mean, the first time North Carolina loses a game, he's not going to be pleasant, but find me a football coach that is pleasant. Jim Harbaugh was a miserable human when Michigan lost. He didn't want to listen to the media.
Yeah, and I think that gets lost a lot in the conversation, like you say, about, the dour Bill Belichick and his, soup-stained hoodies. he is kind of a fun guy. Like when you see behind the scenes, like there's footage of him from when Randy Moss was on the Patriots when he was having a Halloween party, and he invites Bill Belichick. And there's footage. It's a roller skate party, and it's Bill Belichick dressed fully as a pirate, roller skating at a rolling rink with his players. That's a guy who can absolutely connect with college kids.
And here's the thing: he doesn't walk into North Carolina just cupboard bare. There's this thing called the transfer portal, and last week over 1,000 players entered their names into the transfer portal. And once you see a name like Bill Belichick, you're absolutely right. He's a pipeline to the NFL with his 400-page manifesto of what North Carolina needs to invest in terms of coaching, facilities, nutrition. Like he's gone to levels that we haven't heard of from a college coach.
Yeah, and you can't tell me that money's not going to pour into that program now because of a splash hiring like this.
It already has. I think what I saw this week, they've had like a $12 million influx just for NIL.
Yeah, I mean...
And Michael Jordan hasn't been heard from yet.
Yeah, you know who's a famous North Carolina alum who has ties to Belichick? How about Lawrence Taylor?
It's been 40 years since North Carolina's won the ACC, and Lawrence Taylor was there when it happened.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Belichick fails in Chapel Hill.
So here's the other thing that you have to look at. It's a 5-year deal. Does he make all 5 years? Or is this a springboard? Does he want to go back to the NFL? Can we start that rumor that because we had Harbaugh have it every year? Can we start Bill Belichick back to like Los Angeles?
So the way the money's structured in the deal, he can leave with very little financial hit for North Carolina. I forget the exact numbers.
It's $10 million now. I think it drops to $1 million in June.
I believe that, yeah. But he's also 72. Even if he spends 1 year or 2 years, like, do NFL teams really want to throw money at a 74, 75-year-old Bill Belichick?
I don't know.
Because
they didn't want to before. So what is he going to do in North Carolina to prove himself again?
Exactly.
I mean, he's a known quantity. He's not, a third-year assistant that nobody knows anything about.
I think this is more to it's an interesting challenge for him. And, there have been some whispers about, boy, Belichick really didn't win without Tom Brady. I think it's a little bit to burnish his reputation.
I think that this is a motivational thing, especially what Brady did in Tampa, winning a Super Bowl without Belichick. Belichick can say, well, I've gone and built an entire program.
Yeah, in a program that really, I mean, I don't know if you watched that game they had against James Madison this year, where James Madison just ran up and down the field on them.
I remember flipping back. That was on one of the local regionals. You're not wrong. And North Carolina's won double-digit games just once over the last 27 years, and only one head coach has left without being fired over the last 30 or 40 years. And that Mac Brown was just pushed out. He was the successful guy at Texas that you thought might have turned North Carolina around. Not really, though. But the ACC as a conference, I think, is still wide open. I mean, Miami is good. You don't know what SMU is going to be going forward. Clemson, I don't know if Dabo Swinney goes into he was the last holdover who said, I want nothing to do with the transfer portal. I don't think you can win like that.
Yeah, they've come back down to earth because of it.
We'll see if they just remain stubborn, if for lack of a better word. I think North Carolina has a shot to win the ACC as soon as next year, provided the transfer portal brings in. You have to get a quarterback minimum.
I'll be interested.
Alex Orji is out there.
I'll be interested to see who the big name, going into the transfer portal supposedly is Quinn Ewers from Texas.
Yeah. I saw him tied to Ole Miss, but
I saw him tied to Ole Miss. I saw him tied to possibly the Big Ten. I don't know if Michigan's in.
Michigan just brought in a guy from
the Underwood kid and her.
No. As they brought a transfer in. I want to say from Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. And I've also heard.
See what the producer says.
I've also heard possibly Oregon, depending on Dylan Gabriel's going to be leaving. If they've had success bringing in guys from the transfer portal who they haven't had to develop, who've been just kind of plug and play.
Michigan's bringing in Maryland quarterback Billy Edwards Jr.
Okay.
So I don't think Ewers to Michigan is a thing, especially with Underwood in waiting.
Yeah, I want them to develop him and get him on the field as quickly as possible and see what they've got.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting. It'll be exciting to see what he brings under Sharon Moore, and it'll be interesting, at least to say the least, to see what Belichick does in Chapel Hill. If nothing else, it'll bring eyeballs. And speaking of eyeballs, amazingly, we're going to stick with college football one more time. Tonight, the Heisman Trophy ceremony presented by Nissan will originate from Jazz at Lincoln Center's Apple Room in New York City. 2024 ceremony will honor the 90th Heisman Trophy winner. And Tim, you and I are probably going to watch it on TV most likely. Tim,
I was not invited to New York for some reason.
You have won a Heisman Trophy previously, if you can see the screen right here, in 2009 for Indiana, Pennsylvania as a left defensive end. 130 sacks, 107 forced fumbles, and a touchdown. There you are. So, as a former Heisman winner, Tim, who are you voting for?
So this is an interesting year because not only is a quarterback not going to win it, like a quarterback's not even in the discussion to win it. Dylan Gabriel's been invited, but really it comes down to Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty.
I looked at if you're just looking at numbers, and I know that's not what they do. Number-wise, I mean, Dylan Gabriel's 13-0. They won the Big Ten. He's got 86.5 QBR, which is second best in the country. But yeah, you're right. Every article I've seen is talking about Genty or Hunter. And what's kind of cool, Genty played against Oregon way back when. And he had a big day. 190 yards.
Yeah.
A couple of touchdowns. And Boise State had a lead in that game until Dylan Gabriel led the drive at the end. Or they were tied at the end. And Dylan Gabriel led a field goal drive. But yeah, you're right. Like the odds on money, the odds are Travis Hunter.
Yeah, he's actually the last odds I saw, he's kind of a prohibitive favorite.
The BetMGM has him at minus 2,500. Ashton Genty's at plus 1,000.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel plus 25,000. Cam Ward plus 25,000. They're that much of a long shot, which is
Dylan Gabriel. He kind of reminds me almost of like A.J. McCarron, like when he was invited to the Heisman ceremony, but everyone's like, A.J. McCarron's not winning this thing, right? We can all agree. As a Heisman winner, I'm voting for Genty, just because fourth best season in FBS history, 2,500 yards, 30 total touchdowns. And I saw a stat that he led the Mountain West in rushing by 1,300 yards. So what would be an outstanding season for any running back is the margin between him and every other running back in his conference.
Every time he touched the football, on average, he picked up 7.25 yards.
And a lot of it was after first contact, which is really where he shines. So
the other side of this, and speaking as a former Heisman Trophy winner myself, this was your junior year. Rigotti won it our sophomore year. I won it our freshman year at quarterback. So like they wouldn't double up. They didn't want to do an Archie Griffin in the video game. So I'm with you. I would probably vote for Genty too as a running back. But what Travis Hunter's done as a wide receiver who also plays defense, his defensive numbers, his numbers were good. He just didn't have like what I would call the Woodson moment, where the big interception in the big game or the punt return against Ohio State. Travis Hunter is probably going to be picked 1, 2, or 3 in the upcoming NFL draft, and I don't think Genty can say the same thing about that. But I would defer to your statistical expertise on Ashton Jeanty, despite the fact that I think the criticism will be that he played in the Mountain West versus, Travis Hunter in the Big 12. Like, neither one of those are big time conferences. Let's get that straight. But what you said about the difference between him and the next best being an average season, I would go with him as well. But I think you're going to see. I think the media wants another guy who plays defense as well as offense to win.
And I think people, and this isn't to diminish what Travis Hunter's done, but I think they're confusing who played the best college football with who played the most college football. Because Hunter played, north of 110 snaps a game playing both sides of the ball. But he wasn't the best corner in the country, and he wasn't the best receiver in the country, even though he won the Bolitnikoff. He was just very good at both. And you're right. He didn't have that Charles Woodson moment. Like, in 30 years, are we going to talk about Travis Hunter the way we do Charles Woodson?
I just the 30 for 30 on the 97 Heisman was on yesterday, and I got home from work, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll watch this before I start binging Lost again. And the interception against Michigan State, where he went up one-handed
on the side,
somehow got a foot in, that put him on the map, on the Heisman map. And then he had media moments, and what they talked about as well was the media configuration of voters and how West Coast voters kind of like they're minimized based on what they can see. Like Ryan Leaf wasn't seen as much because he played in Washington or whatever. But it really came down to Peyton and Woodson that year. And the South people, the Tennessee fans, the Southeast Conference people, they've never forgiven Michigan and Woodson for winning that award, to the point where I think that Fulmer left Michigan off his coach's poll at the end of the year, if I remember. Like, that became a big deal. I don't see any of that happening for Jeanty playing out in Boise, because there's no big East Coast player to take votes away from. I don't think Cam Ward is that guy. I think the loss to Syracuse really hurts him. He had better numbers than Dylan Gabriel, who's the quarterback of the number one team in the country. I like your A.J. McCarron comp. That's pretty close.
Yeah, and the other thing that's kind of interesting, in like certainly in the 50s and 60s, but more so like in our lifetimes in the 80s and 90s, voting very much. I remember they would break it down by region. Like, it was almost like a presidential election where it would be like, oh, Woodson has to carry the Midwest and Manning's going to carry the Deep South. And the game is so national and the conferences don't break down along regional alignments anymore, where Oregon's in the Big Ten, and so I think it'll be interesting to see how it's very much now a national contest and doesn't break down along regional lines anymore.
And watching games, streaming is an option now. Like, if voters really want to watch somebody, they can. Versus,
or you can watch highlights on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on demand right on your phone. Like, I'm on the train or I'm on the plane going to wherever I'm going next, and I can watch something because, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see. 8 o'clock tonight, I guess. I think our neighbors are coming over to watch some kind of Christmas movie. Like, I think we're watching Violent Night tonight, so I might get the results on my phone. But
'tis the season for murder.
Yeah, exactly. So we will find out tonight who the 90th Heisman Trophy winner is. And one thing I think we can say for sure, all 4 Heisman finalists probably will be playing on Sundays at some point, and that's where we're going to turn our focus here now. Big day here in the Commonwealth for the Pierogies of Pittsburgh and the Cheesesteaks of Philly. It's the big game tomorrow. Both teams in first place in their divisions. So, Tim, Steelers, Eagles, how you feeling about this one?
I said last week that I was worried about the Eagles overlooking the Panthers, and they almost, if it wasn't for
Panthers were playing better, but that was a close game.
The Panthers are also giving up something like 30 points a game, and the Eagles struggled. The passing game, and I know it's been the focus of a lot of talk on Philly sports talk radio, it concerns me how little they're getting AJ Brown involved.
Concerns AJ Brown too, apparently.
Yeah, and you don't want another sort of Donovan McNabb T.O. situation to develop between Hurts and Brown. And it also worries me with Dallas Goedert being hurt because he's always been such a great safety valve for Jalen Hurts. I'm inclined to say that the Eagles will still beat the Steelers. But it doesn't take a genius to say I think a lot of it's going to come down to what Saquon Barkley does against a very good run defense.
ESPN has projected the Eagles 61.5% for whatever that's worth. Which team, since both teams are in first place, both teams are playing their second place team in their division next week as Philly and Washington play and Pittsburgh and Baltimore play. Who do you think needs the win more?
I would say Pittsburgh needs the win more just because I'm not entirely sold on Washington at this point. They're very up and down. Baltimore's also been up and down, but I think Baltimore has a higher upside.
If you give me Baltimore or Washington, yeah, I'm going to lean Baltimore as well. So I tend to agree with you. I think this being at Philadelphia is an edge. The home team usually, what Vegas gives them a 3-point edge, but I don't know how Pittsburgh gets to Philly. I mean, I imagine they fly like a 12-minute flight. They're not going to take the turnpike for 6 hours, but being at home, I think, helps. Philadelphia also just really hot. They've won 9 straight, which ties the franchise's best streak. In 2017, they lost to Seattle, which would have given them 10 in a row. 2003, they lost to San Francisco. And how about this, Tim? 1960, the first time the Eagles had a 9-game winning streak, the Pittsburgh Steelers stopped it.
And 2 of those times they won the title, though. They beat the Packers for the title in 60, and then obviously 17 they won Super Bowl 52.
And if you look at the other end of this, Pittsburgh, it just shows how much I know about football. I thought this was the year they don't finish over 500 under Mike Tomlin, but Russell Wilson has come in and just really. I've been pushing for Justin Fields to play simply so the Bears get a 4th-round draft pick instead of a 6th-round draft pick, but Russell Wilson has just found new home, new whatever it is, karma in Pittsburgh that he just didn't have in Denver.
Well, I thought he was pretty good in Denver last year. His numbers were decent. I just think
he's been this good.
He wasn't supported by Sean Payton, who clearly wanted him to leave town. I think it's a great coaching job by Mike Tomlin.
I still think Justin Fields can be the better option. I think we should push to get him on the field more. Maybe if Pittsburgh clinches the division, Justin can get some garbage time and put the snap rate under or up over 50%. So the Bears can get a draft pick, and that's kind of where their mindset is now. They travel to Minnesota this week. And Minnesota, I mean, talk about ESPN projections, their analytics, only 65% favorites for an 11-win team, but they're kind of an under-the-radar 11-win team. The Bears have lost 7 in a row, 3rd longest streak in franchise history. With a loss on Monday, they would tie their 2nd worst losing streak ever. Their worst was 14 back during the 22-23 season. Going into this game, I don't want to think about how potentially the Bears can pull the upset because this is the kind of game the Bears win. Nobody thinks they have a chance. It's Monday night, and they have no business winning. But I think this game will be competitive. Coming off of an absolute embarrassment, and that's what it was, an embarrassment against San Francisco, where they had fewer yards in the first half than the Niners had first downs. I think they spend this week looking in. This is like a look in the mirror, gut check moment. Like, fellas, you're professionals, and you need to start acting like when it's job audition time. The Bears right now have the 9th draft pick overall. They desperately need offensive line help. If you look into the glass mirror, the looking glass down the road, the 2 tackles are projected as top 10 picks, Kelvin Banks of Texas and Will Campbell of LSU. I've seen them go as high as 5 and as low as 9. Most mock drafts, a tackle is not getting past Chicago, except for CBS, who has Michigan defensive lineman Kenneth Grant going to Chicago because that's what we need, another defensive lineman. A disappointing season in Chicago, which I don't see them winning another game, but that means they're going to win at least 2. They'll beat Minnesota, they'll beat Seattle, because why not?
First, because I saw something where it was basically like a redraft of this past year's draft, where it had Jaden Daniels now going 1 to Chicago. How do you feel about what you've seen out of Caleb Williams?
Outside of he came back and played better in the second half. I like Caleb Williams. I do. I think the Jaden Daniels talk is based primarily on he's having a really good year, and Cliff Kingsbury is his offensive coordinator. The Bears, he came into a terrible coaching situation, and it's the cycle that we've seen again, where Fields came in 1 year with his coach, we fired the coach. Trubisky came in, new head coach, we fired the coach. Caleb Williams comes in, now we fired that coach. We said this last week, this is the most important hire in Chicago Bears history. Who takes over? Because I think Caleb Williams has all of the intangibles to be a superstar quarterback. Absolutely. Maybe they compared him to Patrick Mahomes. No, let's stop with that. Mahomes is only Mahomes because he's with Andy Reid and he had that system. I guarantee you, had the Bears drafted him instead of Mitch Trubisky, it'd be Mahomes who. Nobody would know him. He would have no endorsement deals, none of that, because of the Bears situation.
Yeah. I forget who it was. They were making the point earlier this year about the success that Sam Darnold's had in Minnesota, where he didn't with the Jets. And they said, maybe it's not so much franchises drafting a quarterback as it is, a quarterback hoping to be drafted by the right franchise. Because like you look at Joe Montana, a great example of a comparatively pedestrian physical specimen of a quarterback who fell into the right situation.
Nice.
Yeah, but accurate and fell into the right situation of the West Coast offense.
Perfect fit for the West Coast offense, like I was going to say.
Yeah. Because you're right. Caleb Williams has every tool in the toolbox that Mahomes has. And he, in fact, might even be a better runner.
I won't go that far. He has to be a better runner because of his offensive line. Patrick Mahomes has 3 all-pro offensive linemen in front of him, and the best tight end in football right now. His wideouts, his numbers are down comparatively. If you look, his interceptions are up. He's not having a great year, and Kansas City's winning closely, which you wonder if they can keep that up in the playoffs. But number-wise, Caleb Williams, like you said, he has the physical structure, he has the talent. He needs some experience, and he needs a line in front of him.
Speaking of the Chiefs, I saw an interesting stat. I wrote it down here on my very official back of my green notebook.
You have paper in there, you don't have to write on the back.
Oh, I thought those were for making snowflakes. I can write on those, you're saying. Okay, good to know. So there are 5 teams this season in the NFL who have yet to score 30 points in a single game. Oh, no. The Jets, the Giants, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Chiefs.
Wow, that's incredible.
The 12-1 Chiefs have not cracked 30 yet.
You are what your record says you are, though. So they are still the team to beat, but they look like almost like in the movie The Untouchables. That's the elevator scene. Touchable. They're close. And I think Buffalo can get them. I think I think Pittsburgh can get them. I think Baltimore can still get them. I think the Chargers can get them.
I was just going to say, I think the Chargers can get them. The Chargers almost did have them.
I'm a de facto Charger fan now. The Bears, I'll root for the Bears because, yay, draft picks. But, yeah, give me some Harbaugh, and I'll pull for San Diego / Los Angeles. I was a big Natron Means fan back in the day, Marion Butts. I know some Chargers history. I can fake being a Charger fan, right?
And I know like it's become cool to be a Chiefs hater, like the same way it was to be a Patriots hater, because success breeds contempt and all that. But I love Andy Reid from his time in Philly.
I liked Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I mean,
Me too.
Imagine me, a New York fan, not mind. I wasn't rooting for New England, but I was not minding if New England won, because if the Bears weren't going to win, at least it was a good story. The whole Patrick Mahomes greatest in waiting, yeah. No,
Yeah.
don't like that. Don't like that. Not at all.
But I have enough affection for Andy Reid, and then also their GM Brett Veach, who's a Mount Carmel guy. He's local to me. He was the state player of the year for Mount Carmel High School here in PA in '96. So, just for that alone, and plus Travis Kelce seems like a pretty good dude.
Yeah, I really think the Kelce twins are pretty. Yeah, I could see that. So, good times coming up in the NFL. Big game, Buffalo, Detroit, possible Super Bowl matchup. That's last week I wasn't too enamored with some of the games, but I think Buffalo, Detroit's going to be a nice possible Super Bowl preview if you look at it that way.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what Buffalo does coming off that game against the Rams, where
that was fun.
Yeah, I did not have a shootout, on my bingo card last week for Rams Bills, but and then for the Rams to turn around and win a game where neither team scores a touchdown against the 49ers on Thursday.
It's a peewee football game. Can we get the kids in the end zone?
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Against the San Francisco team that kind of I don't know the guy's name, but you know what, he doesn't deserve to have his name mentioned on a broadcast.
Oh, sure.
San Francisco linebacker decides he doesn't want to play anymore. Like,
that's how bad the game was. He was like, I can't watch this. I'm out of here, guys. I don't know. Just send my last paycheck. I'll give you the address.
Is he on the roster next week?
Oh, no. Shanahan said that they're going to move on from him.
And do you think I don't think he can be. You can't sign that guy, can you?
No, I think that effectively ends his career.
That's a bummer, but
if his heart wasn't in it, which it clearly wasn't.
Clearly. And yes, I hadn't prepped anything like this, but I can remember going back to our days playing. Like, you were tugging at the coach's sleeve, like, "Hey, can I go in? Can I go in?" I can't imagine the other way. Like, Jamel, do you want to go play? Nah, I'm good. No.
Yeah, and not that this should matter, but especially when you're getting paid obscene amounts of money to do it.
Oh no, it should matter. I mean, it absolutely matters, and
and just the opportunity you have to your teammates.
That's the thing right there. Like, you could peer pressure me to do a lot of stuff football wise because I don't want to let the team down. Like, you want me to go play. So I had this really, really, really weird dream the other night that I was back in high school. However, I was about 75 pounds, and the coaching staff needed a lineman, and they said, "Jameli, go play center." And Mike Llewellyn was the nose tackle, and Mike Llewellyn was about 7 times the size of what he was. And on the first play, he picked me up. Like, I snapped the ball, and he picked me up like off the ground and literally threw me through the goalpost. And I hit the brick wall on this one side of Harmon Guy Stadium. But like, the coaching staff, the coaches found me. They're like, "Are you okay? Can you go back in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll make it." Because even in that really weird dream, I had the mentality, you don't want to let your teammates down.
And that's a good teammate. You don't even want to let them down in a dream where Mike Llewellyn's 7 times his size.
Mike Llewellyn. I get bet the next play, he's like, "Are you okay?"
Sorry, Jammer.
In his Mikey voice, and I'm like, "Yeah, Mike, I'm fine." Did it again the next play. No, but that's if you're a professional linebacker, like you said, getting paid, that's a thing. But so we talk about getting paid, and it's a good switch up here to the Major League Baseball winter meetings just wrapped up on Thursday. And this year's meeting was quite eventful, to say the least. And I guess we should probably start with the big whale of the offseason, that is Juan Soto. Staying in New York, but switching boroughs. off the Queens for the Mets for 16 years, I think it is. Or no, 15 years, $765 million. Tim, I have thoughts, but what are yours?
So this is he's under contract until he's 42.
I thought it was 41, but still, I mean.
He's either 25 or 26 right now.
25 right now.
Okay.
I don't know when his birthday is.
And okay, so they're giving him this money. They're paying Lindor around $350 million.
October 25th, our producer says. That's his birthday. Go ahead.
Okay. So this essentially, I mean, you'd have to imagine, tells, Pete Alonso, thanks and see ya.
Does it though?
How much can they?
Cohen has a bottomless pit of money that if I think New York wants Vientos to play first. I think that pushes Alonso out before money does.
I mean, look, if they can put a lineup out there with Lindor, Alonso, and Juan Soto, I mean, more power to them and their accountants.
I think the NL East has become, if it's not the toughest division in baseball, I mean, it's really close. Here's the thing now. I'm going to start on the Mets side of things. Obviously, offensively, it's one thing, but Fox Sports put out their projected starting pitchers list. The Mets have not only taken Juan Soto from the Yankees, they've also taken Clay Holmes with the intent of making him a starting pitcher. Clay Holmes hasn't started since 2017 with Pittsburgh. He has 4 starts in his career. Kadai Senga, all-star in 2023, all kinds of injuries last year. You don't know what he's coming into this year with. I think their best pitching name out there, I like David Peterson. I mean, last year he was a starter. He closed a little bit. He was a multi-inning reliever. He is like their multi-use tool, so to speak. He has the highest wins above replacement if you're into analytics. But if this is your starting 5 out of these 6 players, I don't know how competitive you're going to be with the Phillies. The Braves have taken a step down. We'll talk about here in a second, or even especially the Dodgers in the National League. I just don't.
Yeah, and the Mets were so fluky, I guess you'd say. Like they had to depend on just an absolute red hot summer, like getting hot after the break.
They started really slow, and
right.
and I think it balanced out. But then when they hit the playoff run as a 6th seed, and I think I remember seeing something on the news saying, "Can you rely on magic that often?"
Right.
At some point, the rabbits out of the hat stop.
Right, because it feels like just with what the Phillies have done the last few years, their success is more sustainable, and even to some extent, Atlanta, like it feels like they have talent that has a better chance at sustained success.
I think the National League East is going to be a battleground all year, and the Mets can't afford a slow start. They can't. Because the fan base has grown, they've got chesty a little bit. They've got their big guy in Soto, who they took away from the Yankees. And if you look at the contracts that both teams were offering, it boiled down to a $3 million luxury suite that the Mets were willing to give Soto that the Yankees weren't. I don't like Soto leaving the Yankees. Let's get that straight. But I don't think that means this offseason can be a total failure. They were willing to pay $760 million over – the Yankees' deal was 16 years. Over 16 years. They were willing to spend $700 million. And if they can spread that around, and we'll talk about that here in a second – they can still have a successful season. But let's talk money. Let's continue talking about the Mets here. If you look at the purchase price, like when the Mets were bought back in 2019, it cost $2.4 billion. According to Baseball Reference, if you look at the top 8 purchase prices of Major League Baseball teams, Juan Soto's deal would be number 9 in all of that. I mean, it's ridiculous money we're talking about. And this is the first time Juan Soto's getting married. He's had a couple girlfriends up to this point, and he dated Washington for a while. Then he got sent off to San Diego, and then New York wooed him. He's there for this. This is a lifetime contract now, except the 5-year opt-out, which I honestly think it's in the Mets' best interest for him to have 5 awesome years and then opt out.
Now, what do you think? Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I feel like, and it's a pretty popular consensus that he has been overpaid, that the market drove this, but that most north of $700.
The hitting comp was Ted Williams. I mean, I've seen Juan Soto and Ted Williams head to head, like the StatCast thing that they do, and Williams was a better hitter and a better defender. Juan Soto's defense.
He's a terrible defender.
He has a really, really good arm, but the thing is, he's got to catch the ball first. There was a collage or a montage of Soto miscues in right field for the Yankees. The only miscue Yankee fans are going to remember is Judge's drop in Game 5. But Juan Soto defensively is a liability, not to the extent that he's not worth his hitting more than overtakes it. But in 4 or 5 years, his defense isn't going to get better. Let's get that straight. He's not going to all of a sudden turn into.
He's going to lose the legs. He's not going to suddenly become an expert at tracking a fly ball.
So I mean, he's a DH in a couple of years, and the Yankees kind of ran into that with Giancarlo Stanton, who doesn't have the legs to play the outfield. Although I don't think I think Stanton can play the outfield once in a while. I think he can spell somebody. I don't think he's that bad. He's not Ken Griffey Jr., but Juan Soto in a couple of years though is going to be a DH. So 765, you're worth what the market tells you. Shohei Ohtani is signed as a pitcher as well. And here's the other thing about this contract: none of it's deferred. So he's getting all of it up front, which I think is smart from his perspective. If you can get a guy, I mean, you get a guy who helps invest, 50% of your contract, and then you live off of that. You don't have to worry about the deferrals coming in. Is he overpaid? Yes. Is everyone in Major League Baseball overpaid? Yes, in my opinion. I mean,
you talk about his player comparison, and you bring up Ted Williams. When I was looking at stats on Soto, just to try to just have a little bit of a basis to talk about this. Baseball Reference has his nearest statistical comparison as being Josh Hamilton, which is a pretty good comparison. And Josh Hamilton was he was a really good player for a while.
He was a sparkler, and then he fizzled. But
he had an absolute Roman candle of a career where he was very bright for 30 seconds, and then
When was the last time you thought of Josh Hamilton though? Yeah, so
2015 maybe.
We'll see if Soto. I don't think Soto's going to fizzle. I think he has 5 good years. I really do. I think he opts out, and I hope the Yankees are smart enough not to pay him for the previous 5 years. That's what I think Boris will tell him. You're going to be 41. We can get that average. The average annual I think is 51 right now. I bet you Boris thinks he can get it up to 60. But he needs both New York teams bidding against each other, maybe LA as well. I hope New York sticks with, by that time, I think New York, the Yankees will have a better idea of what Jason Dominguez is and what Spencer Jones is. Spencer Jones is their big outfielder in the minors right now.
Where would you rank Soto? Like, would you say he's top 3, top 5, just purely in terms as a hitter? A guy a guy he's got the 1 batting title. He's never been MVP. He's been a 100 RBI guy, I think, 3 times. An on-base demon, draws a lot of walks.
Yes, situationally, if I'm trying to think of like who I want up at bat right now, like if I need a single right now, shucks, he's up there with Ohtani. I like Acuna when he's healthy from Atlanta to get a hit. I like, oh boy, I like Trey Turner.
I mean, Freddie Freeman comes to mind just with what he did in the series.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I need a base hit right now. Yeah, but if I need some kind of power in a big pressure spot, he's definitely at least top 3
with Ohtani and Judge.
Yeah, I'd put him over Judge in a big spot.
Is it just because Judge is so prone to strikeouts?
Yeah. Soto's batting eye forces pitchers to get into the zone more, whereas Judge will every now and then you catch him on that outside slider that you wonder what Judge is thinking, but
that is because I mean Soto is good for like at least 125 walks a year. Like that is his best asset, is that he's going to force a pitcher to throw him something.
On base machine, and he makes an entire lineup better. And I think you'll see that a little bit with the Mets. I wonder though how much Judge helped Soto last year, and if Vientos offers the same kind of protection value going forward. Well, we'll see. There you see the contract laid out. I saw this online and just thought to myself, what in the world are we doing here? I think I sent you this and I said, how long would you work with this? So with these numbers, how long what are you working?
I believe I said I would work 1 day. Was that it? 1 day a week for 52 weeks?
If you worked 1 day a week based on averages, that's
so it's 52 days a year I work.
You want to do 52 days?
Let's do 50. I'll take a 2-week vacation. I'm getting pretty worn out.
You're working 1 day. 50 days is 6.9 million pre-tax.
I'll take it. I'm not agreeing.
I think I had mine set up where I would work 30 minutes a day, and the average number of work days during the calendar year is 260. So 30 minutes a day for 260 days gives me a salary of $756,000 pre-tax. And I think
that means if you and I go out to dinner, I'm picking up the check.
I think I have to work 45 minutes. I might have to work through lunch just to pick up the commuting. That would put me up to 1.1 million. But these are video game numbers right here. And for someone like you and someone like me who, we get by. I'm gloriously middle class. We're broadcasting to the world right now. We're the richest people ever.
In the time it took us to discuss what we would do with this breakdown, let's say it was 2 minutes.
Juan Soto
that was more than someone who makes the minimum wage would make in half a week.
Which funny's the wrong word. It's something.
It's funny. To quote The Simpsons, it's funny in the way that a clown's funeral is funny.
I like that. I don't like that. But so what we're going to do here on Soup and Meatballs, we're going to give you a bonus Christmas top 5. We have 2 top 5s for you. I thought it would be interesting to discuss what we thought we could buy with Juan Soto's salary for 1 month. So Juan Soto in 1 month is making $4.25 million. This is pre-tax now, so that's whatever. So Tim, why don't you give us your top 5 like Letterman style? I'll give you my top 5 Letterman style.
So I'm going to amp it up from least expensive to most expensive.
As did I. Okay, cool. I like that. We're on the same right here.
So look, I'm a simple man of simple pleasures. I like a cool beverage. I like a nice summer breeze. So what I would like for my home is like a vintage, real arcade size, like arcade game version of Punch-Out, which I looked it up, costs $3,500. A pittance. It's nothing.
Why are you not getting it anyway?
I thought that. I was like, wait, I might.
Merry Christmas at Tim's house.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna, and I'll put it. I'll have a game room. I'm assuming.
So you're just spending all $4 million on something.
Yeah, like grocery list style. Yeah, I budgeted.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you got yourself a game room with a full Mike Tyson punch out thing. Okay.
Should I go to my next least expensive?
Yeah. Roll through the whole list.
My next least expensive item. I'm going to get, because look, doing my errands and my menial tasks, I'm an important man. My time is valuable. I'm getting a butler for $100,000. That's the yearly salary.
Wow, that's
according to the interwebs, $100,000.
Live-in butler, I guess.
Oh yeah, he can sleep next to the video game.
Getting Jeffrey, okay.
Next, we talked about movie props. Sadly, the Orca was destroyed, the boat from Jaws. But some intrepid
getting the DeLorean?
It's funny you ask that. So I looked into both. People made a replica of the Orca that is estimated to cost $180,000. Or if I want to go a little more economical, I can buy a 1983 DeLorean, like a Gullwing DeLorean, for $60,000. So I've got options.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get a little extravagant. Look, it's the holiday season. I want to treat myself. I've still got some money to play with.
Got a lot of money to play with.
The cost of a private island, according to the internet. Now, I'm not going for something off like the Florida Keys or in the Caribbean. I'm going with a little bit of a fixer-upper. I'm going to drop $500,000 for a private island. I thought that would be way more expensive, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Like, there are houses in Columbia County that you can't buy for... Anyway. And then I still, I have a lot of money to play around with. In 2013, it was estimated that the cost to clone yourself would be $1.7 million. So I put that into an inflation calendar to see what that would cost me in 2024 dollars. So we're talking about 2.3 million. So only about half the size. I've still got leftover money after all this, by the way, from my monthly salary, to buy groceries and whatnot. Well, not me, my butler. But, it's important to budget. It's important to be thrifty.
I love this.
What do you got? What are you spending your money on?
So here's the way I did it. I decided I wanted to see what I could buy just solely. Like I've made one purchase for all of his money. I did that 5 times.
Okay.
And I kept it with a baseball or a sports theme at least. So at number 5, at the lowest end, one of the big things I used to love doing as a baseball player and as a football coach, I would eat and chew a lot of sunflower seeds. At $2.29 a bag at Sheetz, Juan Soto could buy 1,855,895 bags of sunflower seeds.
Well, now that's a lot of sodium. So you need to keep that in mind.
We'll share it around. At number 4, I thought it'd be interesting. You can't play baseball without a baseball. And I looked it up. Rawlings will sell you an official Major League Baseball and a cool little case for $24.95. This guy right here, an official International League Baseball hit by a Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Baron, priceless. But a Major League Baseball at $24.95 a piece. Juan Soto could buy 170,341 of them, and he'll probably hit, 300 more of those over the fence somewhere.
And that's just for a month.
Yeah. Number 3. Get a little bit more expensive here. At $70 a piece, he can purchase 60,714 copies of the critically acclaimed board game Lords of Baseball, designed by Robert Gemelli and Max Gemelli, right there. And this is new in shrink right here. So, Juan, if you're looking, $70.
How much is it if both you and your dad autograph it?
So it's still 70. Last week when I was at PAX, I signed a couple. It's really, really weird that I have autographs out in the world on my game. Juan Soto, I would sign for free just because I'm a nice guy. Speaking of autographs, I like that. So marked down from $500 a pop down to $285 a piece. Juan Soto could buy 14,912 Juan Soto autographs on Yankee baseballs. So I can't imagine why that was discounted. $285 still.
Again,
and
thrifty, very important.
Number one, if he was so inclined, for 1 month's salary, Juan Soto can afford to buy 270 of the most expensive Super Bowl ticket packages, the La Pavilion, which is priced at $15,745 per person.
Now,
he could get 270 of those.
What does that get you? I'm curious.
Oh,
what's included?
That's a bunch. So let's let me look this up here for you. Super Bowl package. It's like a week of stuff. It's definitely one of the elites on locations. A lot of this was call for more info. Oh my goodness. At the very least, the suite, pregame party, chef-curated cuisine, premium open bar, live musical entertainment, and the ability to mingle with NFL legends. I don't know what all that means.
And what qualifies someone as an NFL legend? Like
by whose standard? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like, am I shaking hands with Steve Tasker here, or like what? Well, I'll call for more information.
I mean, a lot of that was call for pricing. So if you're buying 200, maybe they give you a discount. I don't know.
1 month. If anyone's ever asked that.
Absolutely.
Get a discount for buying in bulk.
I guarantee you, somebody's butler called and said, "Look, this is what we're willing to spend. We're a big, Instagram influencer. You want us there." I think the Soup and Meatballs cred will get us the ability to watch it on TV with everybody else.
Our names. It opens some doors.
A little bit, yeah. So that's your Christmas bonus top five. We got more coming later because there was other moves at the winter meetings to talk about. This just happened. Kyle Tucker of the Houston Astros gets moved to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs get Tucker, and Houston gets a bunch of prospects: Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wisniewski, Cam Smith. And I also think what this does is it accelerates the Cubs' desire maybe to move Cody Bellinger, who's been linked with the Yankees in a lot of trade talks. So does Bellinger become one of the replacements for Soto? I don't know. But if you look at these numbers, since 2021, their 162 game averages, dude, Kyle Tucker is right there with Juan Soto as a dangerous outfield bat. And now he goes to the south side of Chicago.
And I kind of feel like the NL Central.
What am I talking about?
I kind of feel like the NL Central is kind of there for the taking. There's talent in the division, but no one has really separated themselves, from the pack. Cincinnati has some talent. The Cubs were in it for a bit. The Brewers. I mean.
The Brewers won the division going away last year.
Well, right. But I'm just saying, like, in the summer, it was still like at least a little competitive. That the Cubs are maybe making a little bit of a push here.
The Cubs are right there. The Cubs have to again, it's like solidify pitching. That's what it comes down to. But they get a boost in their offense, and I think what Houston's doing now, it's almost like a rebuild where I don't know if they go after, if they want to keep Bregman. There was another name from Houston that it's lost into space. Houston felt pretty good in the AL West. I think Seattle and Texas are looking at this like they might have a chance next year.
And Houston,
Kyle Tucker was – go ahead.
Houston, they've kept that core together for,
a long time,
7 or 8 years now.
Kyle Tucker was linked to there was talks with the Yankees that Houston wanted Rookie of the Year Luis Heel and more. And Kyle Tucker's a 1-year guy. He is this year's Juan Soto. He's going to be a free agent at the end of next year. And you can't tell me Chicago has any chance of extending him. Not after what we just talked about with Juan Soto. I don't think Tucker is going to get $765 million. But if he has an MVP-like season, Chicago makes the playoffs. If Chicago makes the World Series, I mean, 500 million, that's probably on the table for him.
And it's funny to think just a couple of years ago that Bryce Harper getting 330 million was the end of the world.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, in our lifetime, you and I are going to see $1 billion player. But
not just in our lifetime, like maybe within the decade.
Who?
I mean,
Skeens? No.
I
don't even give it to a pitcher.
Yeah, starting pitching's been too devalued to pay someone that kind of money.
No, with the injuries, to get to $1 billion, you almost need a 20-year contract.
Yeah, I'd have to think about who even is young enough and has free agency coming up that they would possibly command that money.
Hard. We talk about pitching. It's a great segue. The Yankees missed out on Juan Soto, so they took some of the $700 million they were going to give him, and they give it to Max Fried, the starting pitcher from the Braves, who has a ton of good years under his belt. Gets the largest contract for any left-handed pitcher. I think it's $218 million for 8 years. That's a long time for an arm. But if the Yankees are going to contend again, starting pitching was a thing last year. And Cole got hurt early, and they had to do a lot of patchwork stuff. Clark Schmidt came around, but then he got hurt. Luis Heel was the Rookie of the Year. He had a good year, but he was up and down. I think getting a guy like Fried, putting him with Cole, putting them both with Rodon, they now have a pitching staff where if they make the playoffs, which, I mean, that's a stretch to say if the Yankees make the playoffs, they're a tough out. They really are.
I both feel like this is a bit of a panic move, and yet I also like the move for the Yankees because this is what they needed, like having that kind of frontline pitching. Now, how old's Cole now?
His mid-30s. Let's talk to our
34 or so, 33. Because he was the number one back
34.
in. Okay. So his window's closing, but he's still got it for
you hope he has two more years of one more year of elite, 2 more years of really good.
Right.
I mean, you don't expect like a Randy Johnson resurgence when he's 39, but
right.
They've made marvels with modern medicine.
Honestly, between this move and depending what the Yankees do to replace Soto's bat, I
think in likelihood it's going to be Bellinger. That seems to be
right,
that's where the tea leaves are falling, at least. I would have liked Tucker, but not at the cost of Heel.
Right, and I mean, I feel like that makes the Yankees not only the favorite in the East, despite Baltimore, and the young talent, but I even with losing Soto, I think it makes the Yankees a pretty strong favorite to repeat in the American League.
A lot of fans would say, we wanted Soto back, we did, but you take the $765 million if you spread it among 4 really good players. Are 4 really good players better than 1 excellent player? And Soto gives you 4 at bats a game. That's it.
And when I was looking at the highest total value contracts in the league right now, Soto's contract, for that money, you could have Aaron Judge and Mike Trout. Because one's making like $360 and one's making like $420.
Keep them healthy. That's the thing.
Well, yeah.
Speaking of health, we want to keep pitchers healthy, and Boston made a big move. They made a pretty significant trade that will send Garrett Crochet to Boston. He changes color of his socks. Garrett Crochet, if you look at his numbers, they are definitely not impressive. But he was on a team that lost 121 games, and he won 22% of the games they played. If you look at StatCast, he was in the 89th percentile in pitching run value, 98th percentile in fastball run value, his expected ERA of 285 in the 91st percentile, batting average against 204. That is the 89th percentile. He is an excellent pitcher, and he's under contract for 2 years unless Boston extends him. And I think Mass Live, I read, Mass Live said that his contract would be expected between $25 to $30 million annually, in line with what Max Fried got from the Yankees, if Boston was inclined to do that. But the Red Sox want to see how Crochet performs in Boston before they extend him. Tim, what do you think of this move?
I like it because of everything you said. That's always been one of the most underrated stats for a pitcher to me is batting average against. And I know batting average has been devalued in general in the majors over the last 25 years. But, he's going to be getting better than decent run support in Boston.
Better than he got in Chicago.
Right, certainly better than he got in Chicago.
Even he gets a minor bump. I mean, I'm not one to look at wins and losses. I understand the offense's role in getting a pitcher a win, but he throws over. He gave Chicago over 200 innings. He's a strikeout guy. He misses bats and he gets weak contact, and he's a lefty. You like lefties in some of the American League East ballparks. Reminds me of another lefty pitcher that came to Boston from Chicago.
Yeah, and I'm gonna wait to see what else Boston does this offseason. But I just don't know. I still think at best they're third best in the American League East.
I think they can certainly give Baltimore a run. I do. And you like the Yankees to take the division. I'm not going to argue with you because not to be out-newsed by Boston, the Yankees made a move yesterday. They bolstered their bullpen, which was stronger than anticipated. But, this bringing Devin Williams in from Milwaukee allows them to move Luke Weaver back to a setup role. And losing Clay Holmes, you needed to bring somebody in. And Devin Williams he's a good relief pitcher. He was the two-time National League Reliever of the Year. He's a free agent after next year, though, so he could be a one-year rental unless he re-ups. It cost the Yankees Nestor Cortez, who Nasty Nestor was a cute little story with his weird gimmicky line, his wind up and stuff like that, and his mustache. They lose infielder Caleb Durbin and I believe $2.2 million in cash. But they pick up a big boost for their bullpen. I think this was a big move. Max Fried was the name move, but these are the kind of moves that teams have to make.
Yeah, it's to me obviously a net win for the Yankees. And the bullpen was kind of shaky
during the season. Yeah, during the playoffs, the bullpen really, they surprised me a lot, but. It's a 162 game grind, and when you can throw a Rolaids relief all-star out there, that's a big deal, especially when late in the year when Clay Holmes just couldn't find it at all, and he got removed, and there was a whole thing in the media. So I think Williams will cement himself as the closer. I like Luke Weaver, I do, but in big spots, I think Williams is a better option. We'll see, though. We'll see. Good winter meeting. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
For the hot stove.
Yeah. Even besides the Soto stuff, it was unusually active.
I think Soto overshadowed everything because, of course, he is going to. But a lot of moves that teams make under the radar. And just as fans of the Yankees and Red Sox, that's kind of what we'll focus on here. But this is the time of year where I think it's really hard. This is where GMs they earn their money. They're like the Amazon truck workers right now because you have to follow so much and you have to have access to so much information about and in evaluating trades and evaluating signings. And the winter meetings are only 3 days, and you're in Dallas face to face. So,
and also the way that teams evaluate and place value on different data sets. That becomes very interesting in how teams attack the market.
The Yankees have moved more towards analytics than I think my dad would like. He hates that word, but
they were kind of the forerunner. Stick Michaels was kind of one of the first, by valuing working the count and on base over batting
on base percentage and things like that. Yeah, but a handful of days till spring training. What do we got? Like 34 days. It's not too bad. But speaking of time, today it's everybody's favorite time of the week, Soup and Meatballs draft time. And today, what are we drafting today, Tim?
Oh, did we say Christmas songs?
Christmas songs this week. And I just dropped some stuff here. I think it's been 3 weeks in a row where I've gotten the top pick. So we're going to have to give you a little Christmas present here. Tell me when to stop. Stop. Okay. What color are you picking?
Despite what Wesley Snipes has told me, I'm going to say red.
Hey, you got it. There you go. So,
boy, passenger 57 steered me wrong.
Ace of Hearts. There you go. So, Tim, you have secured the top pick in the Christmas song draft. I have an idea of where you're going to go, but I have 13 choices.
I stuck to 10.
I'm safe.
And I don't think mine is maybe even on your list, but I'm a huge Springsteen guy. I'm going Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce and the E Street Band.
You can ask Jen. That's exactly what I thought you were doing. Number one, and that made my list. And here's the thing, I just have a list. I don't know if I ranked them. So okay. This is me drafting in real time, and so Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I don't know if I've ever heard like a studio recording of it. It's only like live. Yeah. Because he's talking to the crowd like, it's not too many. You got to work on that.
Yeah. It's from a live show. I want to say from 78 is the version that most radio stations play. And it
sounds like he's in pain singing it, but I think that's most of Springsteen songs.
Yeah, a little bit. But, all the things that like some of the people who don't like Springsteen, kind of the corny banter and, it's just right up my alley.
No, listen, it made my list. Like I just threw a bunch of stuff down. So it's number 7, but that doesn't mean it was my 7th pick. I
did that the same way. I didn't weight my picks. I just started scribbling.
So, my number, I have to think like Tim, which one might he, can I be safe not taking this one? Can I not take that one? I'm gonna take this guy here. And yeah, you don't know what that is yet. So it's a song I heard on the radio once, and I thought to myself, holy cow, this is awesome. They made Christmas metal. The song is called Christmas Eve, Sarajevo 1224. It's from Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and it's like their Carol of the Bells, but it's like metal. So that's one of those songs I could walk to the did we ever do a top 5 of songs we could walk to the wrestling ring to? We should.
No, we did run in from the bullpen.
The closer, yeah. But like this is like I could walk to a wrestling ring in this song. It's that cool. But it's Christmas music.
Yeah. And whenever I hear that, I think of The Office. I forget which Christmas party episode it is, but at a certain point, Dwight just puts that song on because he's like, we need to kick this up a notch.
Metal Christmas. There it is. So TSO me.
I'm going to go, I tend to enjoy sort of like melancholy things. And I'm going to go, we established last week that I like Charlie Brown Christmas. I'm going to go with the Vince Guaraldi trio, Christmas Time Is Here.
Okay.
The instrumental is just da 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 da. It's just a good thing to put on when you're baking cookies.
That is melancholy. That's borderline sad.
Yeah, but you know what it reminds me? It makes me think of like that sort of like bittersweet time after Christmas is over, between Christmas and New Year's. You know, where you've opened the presents and it's just you're eating leftovers and it's getting dark at 4:30. That's what that song reminds me of.
It always makes me think of Rome, you know, the way the sunlight hits the buildings.
You speak French? Oui.
We that's a good pick. Oh man, so I'll tell you what. I'm gonna pick. It's not melancholy, but it's. I can't describe how it hits you in the feels, and it's another like pop singer, except he's from Canada. The song's called Christmas Time, but it's more like you'd hear the words, there's something about Christmas time, from Bryan Adams.
Oh, okay.
That's like that when I hear that song, it's from the mid 90s, but it's like a nostalgia thing where, yeah, life was easy back then. And there's something about that when things were easy. And the first
tune.
The first Christmas without my mom, I had it just been a couple of months since she passed. I as a means of I don't know what the word is. Coping's the wrong word, but like coping. I made like a little music montage of, you know, old Christmas pictures, and that was one of the songs I used. And that I just watched it last night, and like, yeah, you get that feeling like you're bummed and you want to be bummed. Like but that song helped.
Yeah. Sometimes like I think we're gonna get deeper on Soup and Meatballs, but I think like sometimes people attach too much negative, or we describe like sadness as like a negative thing. Sometimes you need to actually experience sadness for that kind of like an emotional catharsis.
There it is, and that song helped. That so the. I have no words really to describe like what's in my head. So yes, if you've never heard it, I'm sure you have out in the world. Like, you know, get on Spotify and listen. It's a good song.
All right, and I like that. That's a good personal one. I like that pick. I'm gonna go with another bittersweet one. We're developing a theme here, is what we're doing, Max.
Right.
It's Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And
It didn't make my list.
It's a standard that's been done. You know, Sinatra's done it, Tony Bennett, you know, Judy Garland.
That makes the classic list, I think. When you hear the rest, like my list was certainly not classic. My list is very reminiscent of what you would hear in the Granada 30 years ago.
And honestly, it's another one. Like you talk about, like it does like take me back to like being younger. It's because it's the line, through the years we all will be together if the fates allow. Like it makes me think of like childhood Christmases, you know?
I have no worthwhile addition to that. Yeah, like that just that one line, yeah, that gets you.
Yeah.
And usually it's been released by multiple people. I think that's a hallmark of a classic Christmas song where, you know, you can have multiple versions of it.
I don't know. Sinatra's probably like the most famous version. Mm-hmm. But I mean, enough people have done it that it's just an absolute standard.
All right, so I think that I really need to maybe change the tone here.
That's where I'm going with my last two as well.
I'm gonna. This was the first one I wrote down, and it might surprise people watching. They're like, I can't believe you like this song. Yeah, I do, and it's not just because I'm Italian, but because the song is so goofy. I'm going to take Dominic the Donkey. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
You know, even though I didn't know it, I knew that was going to be on your list.
I almost made that my top pick. I didn't think you were going to take it, so I'm like, I think I can get a late round sleeper.
Oh yeah, it was not on my list. That's the Tom Brady of Christmas songs. You could wait till the 6th round for that one.
Oh man, no, the video is. I saw a video for it a couple years ago too. Like an animated thing is just, it's so funny. It's a lot better than, which did not make my list. And if it made yours, I'm sorry. I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
I heard
that song. My next list.
I heard that song this week. I went to the pizzeria down the street to buy a Coke Zero, and it was playing. And I just said to the guy behind the counter, I was like, how many times during a typical shift do you hear this song? And he was like, kill me, kill me, kill me. I hate that hippopotamus song so much.
But the donkey song, A-OK. Give me some Dominic.
Is that a sentence you thought you'd be saying today? The donkey song, A-OK?
I mean, I put my list together 2 days ago. So yeah, I did not think that I would not say Dominic at some point, but give me the donkey. Yeah, maybe that's new for today.
So I'm going to go with one. I wouldn't call it melancholy. The lyrics are melancholy, but it's nostalgic for me. I'm going Last Christmas by Wham.
Okay. Yeah, that made my list.
Because even though, like, you know, like where he's talking about like some woman breaking his heart last Christmas, it's just an absolute bop of a song.
Yeah, but it's upbeat.
Right, exactly.
So,
and it's synthy and 80s.
It's straight 80s, which is cool.
Yeah, it's
like I haven't seen the video for it, but you just know there's 30 tons of Aquanet there.
Yeah, the hair is just feathered and glorious, just super spicy salad. Yeah,
and
very 80s.
I thought about songs that they're all on my phone, and I have a specific playlist just for Christmas, and then in June you're not listening to this. In June, if Last Christmas comes on, I'm not turning it off.
Oh, absolutely not. It's fantastic.
Just like Sarajevo 1224, if that comes on, I'm still listening to it because it's awesome. Yeah,
and
Last Christmas.
It's a great song to sing along to.
Yeah, it's not in an octave that either one of us can't hit. I think that's fine. Is it? No, it's not mellow. The message might be, but no, it's still upbeat. Like not to the point where like Christmas time is here. Like,
I got this year.
All right, so, geez, my goodness, there is so much awesomeness on my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 9 to pick from that I have to whittle down to 2. I feel like the Minnesota Vikings. You're going to get another pick before I do. So I am going to assume that you don't know this song, and I'm going to take this song instead because when you think of the holidays, when you think of Christmas, obviously you're thinking of 1980s hip hop. I'm taking Christmas and Hollis. I got Run DMC. Christmas and Hollis.
That's where I was going. Christmas and Hollis by Run DMC. It's just straight up
collard greens. All right, right on time. I got it, dude. No, so I didn't know of this song until Die Hard, and one of the reasons why Die Hard is a Christmas movie or whatever. This makes the Christmas playlist in the classroom because it's a hip hop song that doesn't have any language problems in it. Run DMC famous for that. Just an awesome.
They just used it on an episode of Abbott Elementary where like Quinta
really?
like trying to get her kids to be like, "Do you guys not know this song?" And she's like dancing to it, and they're like, "What is this crazy lady doing?" Because it's just pure like 80s hip hop, like DJ scratching and everything. Fantastic stuff.
And it's a Christmas song. How do you have Christmas hip hop? It's amazing.
Well,
good pick, Max. All right, I stole Tim's last pick, so you have 10 of them. You got to go to your next one.
And I almost cursed there too. full disclosure.
Our producer has the beep. We're on a 7-second delay. You're fine.
So I'll tell you. Looking at what's left on my list, I could go several ways of melancholy here, but I'm gonna go upbeat. I'm gonna go "What Christmas Means to Me" by Stevie Wonder.
What's that?
"What Christmas Means to Me" by Stevie Wonder. Like if you know the movie Elf, when him and his brother are running through the store, it's very Motown sounding.
Okay. I have to go listen to that again. It's not in my head right now.
Yeah,
And
very
we're
upbeat.
watching Elf. We're watching Elf with Maria, but like in 10-minute increments before she has to go to bed.
Oh,
we haven't gotten there yet.
How far into it are you?
He just walked out of the Lincoln Tunnel, so like 2 days worth of like 10 minutes.
It's funny because I watched, as you know, I watched Christmas Vacation last night, and then I was going to watch Elf as the back end of a doubleheader, of a double feature, and instead I watched
a doubleheader. That's fine. We're a sports show.
Yeah, and instead I watched the '90s crime comedy Get Shorty.
Oh, there it's Christmassy in its own way. No, yeah. So he just got to the Lincoln Tunnel. I will check that out, and like some of the songs I picked on my list, you probably have never even heard of. So I'm actually quite confident that my number 5 pick you haven't heard of, and it's Derek approved. I asked him yesterday, to compare 2 songs, and we both decided that the Weird Al song "The Night Santa Went Crazy" is worth a draft pick. So I'm going to round out my list with "The Night Santa Went Crazy" by Weird Al.
See, I think there's a superior Weird Al Christmas song called "Christmas at Ground Zero."
That also made the list, so I don't have to talk about that when we talk about the songs we missed. If you've never heard "Christmas at Ground Zero" or "The Night Santa Went Crazy," do yourself a favor, get on Spotify, get on YouTube or something. Weird Al is a national treasure, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, "Christmas at Ground Zero" I think is the superior song, if only for the line, "I'm gonna duck and cover with my Yuletide lover
underneath the mistletoe." So "The Night Santa Went Crazy" feels more like. Have you seen Scrooged? Yes, yeah. Of course you have. So the $6 Million Man, like the assault on the North Pole, except Santa is the one doing the assaulting, and he's blowing everything up. So.
They should have. I think they missed an opportunity. If that's not on the soundtrack for Violent Night.
Yeah. The Night Santa Went Crazy is more upbeat. It's a bop, as the kids say. The Violent Night is definitely darker, but good list. What were some of the ones that you didn't draft that I didn't steal from you?
So some of the other ones on my list, I do have. I like Chuck Berry, and "Run Run Rudolph" was on my list. I know it's very divisive, but "All I Want for Christmas" by Mariah Carey is on my list.
My list too. No, absolutely. No, I'm on this. I like that song. Yes, absolutely.
It's just catchy and fun, and people.
The meme is funny in October, like at Halloween, like the picture of like Jack Torrance in The Shining, but it's like Mariah Carey and like she's melting and like she's coming. No, I like that. I'll listen to that song in June too.
Absolutely,
I like it.
And then
that made my list.
I don't know if you know the song. It's been used a lot in like a lot of TV shows and movies. The song "River" by Joni Mitchell. I just have a very specific memory attached to that song that makes it a Christmas favorite.
I got you. That works. Anything else?
No, those were the only ones I had left on my. Another bittersweet one. "I'll Be Home for Christmas." Okay. I had as like my number 10, but then I replaced it with "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
Gotcha. So a couple years ago, I have I'll give you the long story of it because we have time. I used to listen to the radio in my classroom, and then the radio station would do 24 hours of Christmas music, but they started it on November 1st. And I'm like, I can't do this. And there's not a lot of Christmas music that I actually really like that I want to listen to during the day. So I got a Pandora channel, but then the district blocked it. Then I got Spotify or all kinds of music things online. And I thought, you know what? It'd just be easier. I have one of these memory sticks I can put in the computer. I'm going to put 3,000 of my MP3s, and I'm going to give the kids like Gen X music, like Foreigner, Journey, classic rock type stuff. And the one year the kids like, can we listen to Christmas music? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I went on a search for Christmas music that I will listen to. So like all the TSO albums got put on the stick. And one of the songs I found, in addition to "All I Want for Christmas Is You," Def Leppard did a Christmas song called "We All Need Christmas." If you've never heard Def Leppard's Christmas song, it's a good song. So that made the list.
Okay.
So in addition to There's Something About Christmas Time from Bryan Adams, the big song that I put on the family montage in like homage to what you see in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, that's Spirit of Christmas from Ray Charles.
Oh, I was thinking that last night, like how
when he's sitting there was watching the old film of Christmas is like in the 40s or 50s. And that's kind of what that video became for me, with that song in the background. So I had like my own Christmas Vacation thing. So like that Spirit of Christmas that's borderline depressing for me just because of that. So I didn't draft it for that reason.
And that song does a lot of heavy lifting in that movie, because like all the stupid and crazy antics of the movie are legitimized, because you're like, that's what he's trying to recreate. Like some image in his mind of that.
Like Buddy the Elf bringing the elf choir down one octave. Like, yeah, you're right. That I like the comparison. That's what he's trying to do, though. So then there's two versions of the 12 Days of Christmas that are really fun. Number one, if you've never heard the song sung by Straight No Chaser, they're an a cappella group. The Straight No Chaser, 12 Days of Christmas, phenomenal. After the show, listen, it's great. Or the humorous version, the 12 Pains of Christmas.
Sure.
I blew a fuse. And I have one more for you, and I actually have the video because it's not a real song, but it's you know Feliz Navidad?
Sure.
But do you really? Listen to Feliz Navidad, Rebel Yell.
DJ Cumberbund.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Because I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. From the bottom of my heart, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my.
I didn't get anything.
Oh no! I hope it went out. So. I'll text it to you so you can listen. It's Feliz Navidad blended with Rebel Yell from Billy Idol, DJ Cumberbund, and
I love DJ Cumberbund.
Oh, dude, so I heard that it was last year or the year before, and I thought this is awesome. We need the full version of it. Since it's not a full version, I didn't draft it, but whew, there's some bangers on our list, man.
Yeah, and also some real sad stuff going on.
Well, you know, I think we're at that age now where, I mean, there's a little introspection, and you know, Christmas means a little something different now. Being adults versus, you know, when we were in high school versus when we were in elementary school. You know, like the season changes, and like Christmas when you're in college finals are just wrapping up now. Kids are coming home for Christmas break for 2-3 couple weeks, and you know, if you're in college, you're thinking, you know, one thing. Versus now, it's a different feeling. And I think we've established on this show that music is a means of either drawing emotion or, you know, remembering. And yeah, this is a time when you remember Christmas is past, unless you're rocking out to Billy Idol.
Or, you know, if you're just feeling nostalgic for all the Christmases you spent in Hollis, Queens.
Yes, all of them. Or none of them. So, good list, good draft, and I think now is a good time when, you know, the happy holiday seasons can pivot a little bit, and this year, this top 5, we'll get the new top 5 logo out there for people because we're doing a the actual top 5. This one's been in the can for a while, at least that I've been thinking of, but now's the time of year where we can use it correctly. We're probably not going to get to tape next week because of the holidays, so we're going to miss pre-Festivus. This week, we bring to you our top 5 airing of grievances to air within the sports world or the real world or the entire world. Tim, I will defer to you once again. What's bugging you?
So I limited mine to sports grievances. This is one that I was railing about last year a lot, and I'm sure, especially with what's happening at Christmas this year, it's the increasing number of games that are being filtered to streaming services. Like last year, I had to get Peacock if I wanted to watch that Dolphins-Chiefs playoff game. This year, you need Netflix if you want to watch the Christmas game. The Chiefs, is it Chiefs-Ravens on Christmas? It's sports leagues for some reason thinking it's a good idea to make their product harder to find and more exclusionary. And
I think more exclusionary is the right word because it boils down to bringing money in. Not that the $1 trillion deal with Fox and CBS and ESPN is enough. Yeah, I didn't make my list, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's just greed, you know. And it's also like it's not going to stop.
No, that's the thing. Like,
because it's been profitable for Amazon. I haven't seen what it did for Peacock last year. We'll see what it does for Netflix. But based on what the Paul Tyson fight did, they're going to get numbers.
Netflix also is bringing in WWE Raw starting in January. So
hopefully they can provide a better product than they did for Paul Tyson. Hopefully it doesn't lag every 2 minutes.
Oh, my God. Well, so, I mean, the worst part of the Paul Tyson thing was, like, I didn't need to hear from Jerry Jones and Michael Irvin for 45 minutes. I fell asleep. Like I said, like I watched the one fight, and I'm not a boxing fan, but I was like, I'm going to watch the Tyson fight just because I didn't make it to it. So, now, like, scheduling wise.
Now to break down that blitz package, here's Rosie Perez.
Oh my gosh, no. Here's a Quince. Yeah, no. The first one I came up with, and I didn't rank these in any particular order. This was the impetus of this list, though. It's language used by today's generation, and this is straight up old man yelling at cloud. I understand it. I hate the word chip. I hate it. You're not winning a chip. Say the dang word. Championship. If you want to say one syllable, say you want a ring. Chip is dumb. And the other thing that gets me, I'm going to give you a twofer here, language-wise. People, they throw the word goat around. And all right, that's fine. I get it. An acronym, greatest of all time. But then they'll say, Tim was goated when he did this. Like, goated is not the verb. That just, oh my God, I'm angry right now.
The one that bothers me is when people are like, oh, Magic Johnson was the 80s GOAT. No, GOAT means all time. You don't then get to subcategorize among all time.
You can't say gotted, the greatest of the decade. But no, the verb version of goat, goated. Oh, you're goated for that. Oh, gosh. I only wish the humans, the children that use this language, I wish nothing more for them that when they get to my age, their children are listening to the worst music possible and they come up with even dumber vocabulary.
Oh, I think that's certainty. All right. Let me get off that soapbox so I can get on it.
All right, go.
This is another sports thing that I was talking to you about when I was looking at going to an NBA game. How is a family supposed to go to a game between parking, tickets, concessions?
Want to buy a souvenir?
Exclusionary. They're pricing middle class fans out so that it becomes just these VIP events.
There's a reason why you watch Yankee games and behind home plate you see a lot of fans dressed as empty seats.
And someone was asking me if I'd been to the link for any Eagles games, and I was like, no, not really. And she was like, why? And I was like, I can get a better fan experience at home where I can watch it for free and order a pizza for $20. You go to a game and really you're just watching it on a jumbo screen anyway. Most sight lines for an NFL game are terrible.
I haven't been to an NFL game since you and I went to see the Bears and Eagles in '93, and I don't know if we were in the 700 section. It didn't feel like it. I wasn't assaulted, but I was also in ninth grade, so who knows? What gets me is with football, I almost somewhat understand because you only have 8 gates to make your bank, plus 2 in the preseason because you're forced as a season ticket holder to buy. That would bug me. The fact that you're forced to buy preseason tickets to be a season ticket holder in the NFL, to kind of combo along with what you said. Are there seats at Major League Baseball stadiums you could get for $25? Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind sitting in the nosebleeds, and there's parts of Yankee Stadium I like sitting up because that's just me.
Seeing bad teams,
but then parking is another $50. If you want to get a hot dog, or the best value that Bob and I think is the chicken fingers. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir there, and I don't think there's anybody listening right now who would disagree with you. Even Juan Soto, who for 1 month can afford,
in 1 minute,
a lot
he
of
could
tickets.
afford parking and concessions. He made what, $97 in a minute?
$97 a minute, yeah. So he could park and get a couple hot dogs and a drink. There you go. The next one doesn't get me as mad. It's more of like an annoyance, and I don't hear it as much. Keyshawn Johnson used to be the biggest purveyor of this. I dislike when sports announcers include the word position when they're talking about somebody. Like they'll say the Buffalo Bills have a great shot at knocking off Detroit with Josh Allen at the quarterback position. Like, dude, just say quarterback. You don't have to throw an extra word in there. Are you getting paid by the word?
Yeah.
That's an annoyance. As someone who used to be on TV and who used to talk, like, I don't need to hear about Tim Hare playing the center position. No, he plays center. That's
yeah,
it.
and I can tell you that it's seeped into how people write, because they hear it on TV and they think, oh, that's how professional broadcasters, get information across. So that's a professional way to communicate. No, it's an inefficient way to communicate.
It's both of my number 1 and 2 are dealing with language. So,
and I'm going to go back to your number 1. It's not sports related, but I hate the word Riz. I just say charisma.
Dude, hang out with middle schoolers. You'll hear all kinds of stuff. You know what I do like about today's lingo? Ohio means bad.
Also, I probably shouldn't just randomly hang out with middle schoolers.
Probably. No. My wife, who's a middle school teacher, different story. She comes back with some doozies.
I'm gonna go with, and I'm thinking specifically of the A's and the White Sox, tanking to relocate your team. What happened in Oakland?
Rachel Phelps strategy.
Yeah, let's use Rachel Phelps as a verb instead of goat. Oh boy, the White Sox are really trying to Phelps on Chicago, huh?
Yeah, that works.
I don't think anyone wants like a peel and see naked picture of the White Sox owner in the locker room, though. Or maybe they do.
Reinsdorf still on the White Sox?
Ask the producer. Who owns the White Sox?
Let's see here. He's telling me that it is, in fact, Jerry Reinsdorf. So.
Okay, now Google Jerry Reinsdorf naked. No, don't really. Don't. You don't want that.
I have that bookmarked under never.
You're like, I've actually got this whole folder here on the desktop. Let me just.
Yeah. He's next to my naked pictures of Ernest Borgnine. So.
Hey, no judgments. No judgments.
So those were my big 1 and 2, and I kind of had to work to get some of the others. So another one that I thought of, and this comes from watching old highlights. The wide receiver who has no chance of catching a ball, who gets up and starts like, whoa, where's the flag? Where's the flag dance?
And
I hate that.
It's like a Pavlovian conditioning, because pass interference is just such an automatic.
I drop the ball. Where's the flag?
And the flip side of that also is the cornerback who gets beat and the ball's overthrown, and then the corner starts going, no, like he starts celebrating like he did something, beating the chest or
That works hand in hand. Yeah. So know the play, know the situation, know what happened. Listen, the ball was 20 feet over your head, and the corner fell down 5 yards ago. So no, there's no flag. You just get back in the huddle, do it again.
We sound like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon right now. We sound like we should be like fighting like in a snowy driveway somewhere.
I got a lot of problems with these people. This is the time of year you bring it out.
I'm going to go back to beating a dead horse here. This is one that I've been on for years, and it's not on the professional sports level. It's specific to scholastic sports in Pennsylvania. Separate private schools from public schools.
I got you.
St. Joe's Catholic just won a third straight state title. They beat Pittsburgh Central Catholic.
They beat Pittsburgh Central Catholic.
Right. Only St. Joe's Catholic had players from New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. If Ohio can have public versus private, and they're roughly the same size as Pennsylvania, New Jersey has public versus private, just split them already. It's not that complicated, and it's unfair to the kids who go to public schools.
Absolutely.
Especially small schools.
It's more unfair to the kind of like I used to coach at we're a big district here in the state of Pennsylvania, but when I was coaching, one of the best players I ever coached was a running back, and he's an adult now, so I guess I can say his name. His name was Keyshawn. I would not have been surprised if like a McDevitt were to just call him and say, you know what, why don't you come up here and play? Because they can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's so little regulation for the private schools in Pennsylvania.
And you're not wrong. You have been on that for, as long as I think you've been in the media, which is going on 23 years now, and it's been a problem for more than 23 years. So
and getting worse.
Fix it, Pennsylvania. Fix it. The number 4 on my list. This is, I guess it hits home for me more as a Yankee fan. I guess it's when other fans tell you, if you win the championship that you bought it, you bought your championship. Like, okay, are your players playing pro bono? Like everybody's paying their players. Like, and is that supposed to make me feel worse about my team winning? You bought it, so like that negates our win in any way. That bugs me.
The answer to that is we did buy it. Why didn't your owner try to buy it? Like, you spend your money. Don't even just spend it wisely. Like, open the wallet.
You have a billionaire owner. Back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, when the Twins had Johan Santana, and the Twins were always the first round exit for the Yankees. That's when I'd hear like, "Oh, you guys are just going to buy another one." Like, well, Carl Pollard's worth $20 trillion. Yeah,
and also
open up the wallet.
Just buying it doesn't necessarily work because the Yankee dynasty of the 2000s was built through the farm. It's when they tried to buy it that they couldn't.
They were able to buy the way out of mistakes, and they made the playoffs. Yeah, it didn't result in championships. You didn't buy championships then. But yeah, that the whole phrasing of it it irks me. Like,
I'm gonna for my 5th one, I'm gonna go sports related, but I'm gonna go a little more personal. In my 30s, I could still dunk a basketball. I could run a 6-minute mile. I can't do any of those things anymore. Do you see the gray in this beard?
No, I can't see it over the white in mine.
Yeah, the grievance is that time just marches on and is robbing me of my, limited physical abilities.
Your vigor, huh?
I was never going to the NBA. I accepted that when I was 15. But what more can you take from me? Time, keep me with something.
Yes, I'm going to get your Wi-Fi right now.
You're kind of spotty too. Can you hear me?
I remember back in the day when we were at Westcourt.
I think it was because you were kind of.
I think we're reconnected. We were both glitchy, and that's enough. We can be aggravated at Wi-Fi. I remember just running the playgrounds at Westcourt. Like, we would try to do the alley-oop from half court, and we came close a couple times. And and time has robbed us of. I don't know if I could do a chest pass from half court to the basket now on a line where you'd be able to catch it and dunk it. Yeah, I mean, I considered.
When we were kings.
Yeah, when I have to color this, I mean, you've got a lot of color in yours. Like I'm just straight up. It's one of the reasons why this is gone because I have like white stripes in my head. I look ridiculous, so I figured the Stone Cold looks better than the gray look. But my number 5 irritation, it goes back to language, and it says like if I make a statement something like the Yankees signed Max Fried, and I say, dude, it's a great thing that we signed Max Fried. I hope we get a first baseman now. And someone says to me, why are you saying we? Are you part of the team? You know what? Yes, I am. I bought World Series tickets. Yes, I'm now part of the team. Stop being a petulant jerk.
Yeah, you're essentially a shareholder. You're subsidizing the team. You're paying their salaries by buying merchandise, buying concessions.
And it's easier to say we. I'm trying to be efficient here.
Right. And also, if we want to say that one of the main appeals of sports is the collective experience, then let's use collective pronouns.
Saying, man. I had 2 others. One of them was not sports related, and it's just because it just happened to me the other day. I'm driving on the interstate, and I have cruise control on because I'm civilized, and a car passes me because it's fine, and he gets in front of me and slows down. If you want to pass me, pass me. Just keep going the same speed. And there was nobody else in front of us. It wasn't like a truck stop. No, he just pulled in front of me to slow me down.
I hope you rammed him.
Well, my car has one of those cool things where like it sees 2 car lengths ahead and it slows down. Like it won't let me ram him. And with the kids in the car, that's probably a bad idea anyway. So, there's that. And one more makes the list. And I'm surprised that he didn't make your list. Gus Johnson, period. Just his existence.
I don't hate Gus Johnson as much as everyone else. I didn't love he had a bad day, the Michigan-Ohio State game, but I don't hate him as much as
Gus Johnson. There it is. So, what are yours? Who are watching? What kind of sports takes get you irritated? Let's get you guys involved. So, while they're doing that, while they're thinking of what gets them irritated, it's one of my favorite times of the week, Mr. Smarty Pants, and lots of financial talk today. Got me thinking about balance sheets and income statements. And in lieu of asking you any debit or credit trivia, I figured we'd talk a little bit about finances. So, and we've got the holidays coming up. 41 years ago, PNC Bank released a whimsical report creating a valuation of the items listed in the 12 days of Christmas. So, Tim, as close as you can, how much do you think it would cost in 2024 money to purchase all of the items from the 12 days of Christmas?
Okay, so
they're going to tell you what the 12 days are.
Well, the first thing I was thinking is the value of gold varies. So the 5 golden rings, depending on how pure of gold, how large the rings.
They're going with flat pricing in the gold market and just, a regular size ring.
Okay. And are we going with 41 years ago dollars or today dollars?
No, 2024 money.
Okay. All right. So we have a partridge in a pear tree.
Partridge, that's I'll go you down. I'll give you from 12. Okay. 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, your 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
I'm gonna say $21,000.
Maybe in 1980.
Okay.
I'm gonna go up a little bit.
$57,000.
And you've gone a little too far. One more guess.
$38,000.
$49,263.47.
Okay, because I was trying to, like, in my head I was like, okay, like drummers drumming, like I was trying to like think like an hourly rate for 12 drummers.
The drummers drumming actually were pretty affordable. That's a 15% hike from last year, $4,016 for 12 drummers. The 11 pipers would run you a little under 4,000 at 3,700. This one got me because I don't know what the value of Lords of Leaping were, but they valued it at about 15,600.
Pricey.
9 ladies dancing, they went at 8,557.
Now that depends on the ladies, and it depends on the dancing.
That's what got me. The 8 maids of milking, they were paying minimum wage, which hasn't changed in a while, so $58 for them. The 7 swans, $13,125. 6 geese are going to cost you $900. The 5 golden rings, $1,245. So
the Lords of Leaping were more expensive than the golden rings.
Low end for gold, yeah. The 4 calling birds, about $600. 3 French hens, not 3 French horns. 3 French hens, about $350. 2 turtle doves, $750, because they are extremely rare. And the partridge in a pear tree, they called $370. I think you're paying for the pear tree as well.
Okay. I feel okay about my guess, though.
What's kind of cool is what they did. They also gave you the true cost of Christmas in the song, representing how many times you say it. So you say a partridge in a pear tree 12 times.
Oh, right.
But you say 12 drummers drumming once. So the true cost of Christmas in this Christmas song, just short of $210,000, $209,000. And if you look at Juan Soto's calculator, Juan Soto can afford that in 2 days of work.
On an 8-hour workday?
On an 8-hour workday.
Nice work if you can get it.
16 hours to get the entire Song of Christmas. So there's our trivia for the day. I have a list, and the list is also a little bit financial.
Okay.
Let's go back in time. Let's go back to 1998, Tim. December 12th, 1998. Tim, where were you?
December 12th in 98. I was probably just finishing up with finals for my sophomore year in college.
I can tell you where Kevin Brown was. Kevin Brown was making history with the Dodgers, signing a 7-year, $105 million deal, the first $100 million player in the sport. Since then, there have been 129 players that have eclipsed that mark. I'm not going to have you name 129. We don't have time for that. Lord knows. But what I think you could do, there have been 37 players who have signed contracts of valued $200 million or more. How many can you name? We've talked about some of them today.
Okay. Well, Soto and Ohtani.
Boom, Soto, Ohtani. You're 2 in the books already.
Trout.
Trout is number 3. 426 for those of you counting at home.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts is next on the list at 365. You were rolling.
Oh, Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper drops down to number 9 at 330.
Judge.
Judge is number 5 at 360.
Lindor. We mentioned Lindor.
Lindor at number 7. So you missed one guy.
Oh, Manny Machado.
Manny Machado, number 6.
Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton is tied for 10th with 2 other people at 325 million.
Tatis.
Tatis is number 8. He's at 340.
What's Alonso making? Is he on there?
Alonso, if he's probably over 100, but he's not. He doesn't break 200 million.
Okay. All right. So now let me go team by team here and try to think of the high paid.
This is all time now too.
Oh, right. Well, A-Rod.
Okay, there you go. So A-Rod actually comes in at number 19 on his second big deal with the Yankees, $275 million.
Okay. Because then he also signed the $200 million deal with Texas.
The $225 million deal is worth the 21st spot on this list. So I give you both of them.
I remember Jeter signed that monster deal. I don't know if it got to 200,000 or
189.
He got what
189.
did he get?
189.
189. I remember it was big, but I couldn't remember. Okay. Let's see here. What's Acuna making? Is he still on a small deal?
Yeah, he must be because he's not on the list.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of guys who have been good in the last 5 years, but maybe not. How about Altuve?
Does not make the list.
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman does not make the list.
Boy, I'm gonna imagine then that maybe none of those Braves guys are making 200 million. Like Matt Olson's probably not. I'm thinking too current too. I have to think like 2010s.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are current. Like,
Right. What about Pujols?
Pujols is on the list. Pujols is tied for 25th. His deal that he signed with the Angels was $240 million.
Miguel Cabrera.
Miguel Cabrera comes in at number 22, $248 million.
Verlander.
Verlander, I would make sure I didn't see his name. I'm going to do another one down list here. Verlander does not make the list, but one of his former teammates does.
Scherzer.
Scherzer comes in at 34, $210 million.
David Price.
David Price comes in at number 29, $217 million.
Chris Sale.
Sale not on the list.
Okay. Oof.
I've heard of I would have to look up two of these guys just as players. I mean, they're really, really good players, I'm sure. But they're not, in my head, they're not everyday names. They're low on the list. The highest guys right now are both currently, I believe, on the same team, and they're going to have a parade, or they've had a parade.
Oh
no, okay, this guy's not. He used to be, though. Former Dodger. Now Texas Ranger.
Oh boy. So he was on this Dodgers team and now with the Rangers?
He wasn't. He used to be a Dodger and he went to the Texas then. He's been with Texas for 3 years.
Oh man.
What kind of music does this guy play? Night Moves.
Bob Seeger plays for the Rangers.
Well, Seeger.
Oh, Corey Seager.
Corey Seager, there you go. He was tied for 10th with Stanton, 325. And this guy just signed. He was a brand new player with the Dodgers this year. Came in with a lot of hype. His ERA was like 36 after the first 2 starts.
Not Snell.
Not Snell.
You don't mean this offseason?
The last offseason. I knew his last name. I'd never get his first name if you asked me.
Oh, is it? Oh God, is it Yamamoto?
Yeah. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 325.
Okay.
And I don't know how much of that was deferred, but. So now, I mean, there's two American League East pitchers that.
Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole, yeah, he's number 13. And then we talked about this guy earlier.
2 AL East pitchers. Oh, Fried.
Max Fried comes in 218. He's number 28. The next highest is on your team.
Devers.
Devers comes in at 14. We can stick with your. Is he still on your team? You might have got rid of him. You might have got rid of this guy. I actually have to look that up. Yeah, you got rid of him, but he was with Boston for a long time. Fun name to say.
Woof. Still playing?
San Diego now.
I don't know if I know.
Xander
Bogaerts makes that much money still?
Xander Bogaerts signed a deal worth $280 million, 10-year deal.
That is robbery. Oh Lord.
Let's go to a guy who's got 2 years left on his deal. The Yankees were looking at him. I didn't want him because he's a little old. He plays third base.
Oh, this isn't according to the guest, but what about Trey Turner?
Okay, well, Trey Turner he's actually up on the list. Yeah, so he's tied with Manny Machado for 15th, $300 million.
Yeah, but yeah, that wasn't the guest. You said, or not the guest. You said a third baseman.
National League
third baseman. Oh, Arenado?
Arenado, yep. So he is making $260. A guy who I think he just signed this deal.
I have two other guesses real quick.
Oh, go ahead. Rock and roll.
Did I say Joey Votto?
You did not say Joey Votto.
Is he on there?
Are you saying Joey Votto?
Yeah.
27th. He signed a deal for $225. He is on the list.
And what about Goldschmidt?
Goldschmidt not on the list. Amazing, surprising, I think.
Yeah.
So you're down. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 11 left, and you this is a win for you, I think. One of these guys, the next highest, number 17, had a chance to win AL MVP this year. Just signed this deal too.
Okay, I had a chance to win AL MVP. So obviously it's not Bobby Witt because he didn't get paid, and it's not Soto or Judge because we've said them.
Amazingly, it is Bobby Witt.
Is it? I didn't realize he'd been paid like that.
And if you look at the numbers that I'm looking at right now, it's so strange because all of these numbers are like 330 million, 360 million. His deal is 288,777,777.
Wow, I didn't realize he'd been paid like that.
It must 24 to 34 contracts. So it must have just happened. Probably at the end of the year they extended him. So that's number 17. So now we're down to the number 23. There's a tie, and the tie is between a former number 1 pick who was a pitcher and like a utility infielder, but a really, really good utility infielder. They both played on the same team.
Strasburg
is, well, he's tied, so 245. And I'm pretty sure this guy won a World Series with him as well. Yeah, he did.
So he was there in 2019. Utility infielder.
Well, utility infielder is maybe the wrong word. He can play all over in the infield. He's listed as a third and second baseman. Came in third in MVP race. Led the league in RBIs 2019.
Who is it?
Anthony Rendon.
Oh, wow.
245 for him.
I didn't know he got paid like that.
Yeah, then now going down to the bottom, like some of these contracts were signed in 2014. One of them was in 2012. So 2014.
Josh Hamilton didn't get paid like that, did he? Okay.
So this one, a lot of Yankee fans are reminiscing about this after losing Soto.
Reminiscing about this after losing Soto. So, by that, do you mean a right fielder?
But a really good player that decided to go to a team that they consider to be lesser than themselves. And he signed his deal in 2014. And he is now no longer. I don't think he's playing in the majors anymore. Robinson Cano, $240 million. He went to Seattle for.
How about Soriano? Did he sign a huge deal? Alfonso Soriano?
Apparently not. So the next one on the list, you certainly know. He is one of the greatest at his position, but his playoff skills were called into question numerous times.
Not Ortiz.
Not Ortiz. His playoff credentials are impeccable.
Okay, so someone who's best among the best at his position, but questionable playoffs. I don't know, and I'm realizing now that we're over 2 hours and 20 minutes. Who are the rest?
Good times. Okay, so Clayton Kershaw at 215.
Oh, Kershaw. And I was thinking of him earlier when you said Dodgers, because like when you said about a parade, I meant to say him, and then I got caught up on the anyway.
Christian Yelich, the former Marlin, then Brewer, 215. Yeah. Prince Fielder got paid $214. And then some of the names I would have to look up the Braves. Austin Riley, he got $212. And the Mariners have an outfielder named Julio Rodriguez.
Oh, sure,
really good player. Zach Greinke got $206,500,000, and a recent signing of the Minnesota Twins, Carlos Correa.
Wow.
37 names on a list or is it 37? 37. Yeah, Carlos Correa was 37.
Not bad.
Hey, you get back here. But yeah, that's a win. Good series there, man. Good run.
Now, I told you I would have rank roulette for you this week. Is that
you did? So
okay, so the theme will become apparent very quickly.
Excellent. So we go A, B, C, D, E, and then let's start with D.
Okay, D is pizza.
I mean, shucks, man. That's you can't go wrong with most pizza. So I mean,
that's not true. You can get food poisoning.
Not likely. Not me at least. I'm going to put pizza 2. I like pizza.
Okay.
Pizza 2.
Pizza's at 2. All right. So then A, B, C, or E?
Let's go A.
A is lasagna.
Oh man. So
full disclosure, I baked the lasagna this week, so I've been craving Italian food.
Good lasagna is hard to come by. Like you can really, it's so easy to get sloppy and floppy with it. In most worlds, that might be 2. I'll put lasagna 3 and feel bad about it.
Okay.
So let's go C.
Because I'll say also with lasagna, if people use bad ricotta, it can sit a little funny on the stomach.
Yeah.
All right. C is pasta fazool.
Same thing, man. You get it good, and it's good. I will protect the 1. I'll put it 4.
Okay.
That is the best soup of all time.
It is. I made some just a couple months ago.
Good times.
All right, so that leaves us with D and E.
D and E. Let's go E as an elephant.
That is cannoli.
Okay, so this is going to sound weird. I didn't start liking cannoli until I think I was in college. My dad would bring home cannoli all the time, and I just didn't want it. I am definitely more of a savory guy than a sweet guy. That's not to say if you bring a good cannoli, I won't house it now. But cannoli is going to go 5, and I don't I don't necessarily feel too bad about that because in comparison to the savory stuff, it would take a back seat. So by extension, B becomes my number one.
I think you're going to be really happy because B was meatballs.
Oh, there. So
So it went meatballs, pizza, lasagna, pasta visual, and cannoli, which is, I think, how you would have ranked them if you weren't flying blind.
I think lasagna and pizza might have been flipped. It's very dependent on where the pizza's coming from. Like a good mom and pop pizza place versus those are depending on mood. But yeah, hey, that's a whew. There's a level of stress there. Like, is number one going to be like asparagus or
human skin? Just a bowl of human skin.
good Italian food theme as Christmas coming up. The Feast of the Seven Fishes coming up for us. That's a good Italian dinner. And as you said, we're 2:25. I knew this was going to be a heavy day. A lot of stuff going on. But we're probably not going to do a show next week, so we're getting all of it out of our systems now. We miss anything on your end? We didn't talk basketball. We didn't talk college basketball.
Oh, I was gonna. I did tell you earlier in the week though. Shout out to Danny Hale, former Bloomsburg University football coach, inductee into the College Football Hall of Fame.
College Football Hall of Fame, not just like the D2 Hall of Fame.
The National College Football Hall of Fame. Yeah,
good for him. That's awesome. And you have a little bit of the Bloomsburg connection there. That's cool.
Yeah,
I can tell you today is a special day. And do you have any kind of beverage nearby?
Water.
So I mean that's fine. That works. We're gonna have a toast right now. So if you're watching this right now, ladies and gentlemen, gather around and raise your glasses high for today. We celebrate a titan of taste, a virtuoso of visuals, a maestro of multi-musings. It is not just any day. It is the birthday of one Jeff Bonomo, the unparalleled curator of hops in Hollywood. In the grand arena of internet excellence where brews meet blockbusters and pints pair with popcorn, this legend strides boldly. A voice as smooth as a stout, as effervescent as a crisp lager, and as bold as a double IPA. Jeff has guided us through the labyrinth of lagers, the saga of Sissons, and the drama of Dunkels, all while unraveling the mysteries of cinema's greatest triumphs and quirks. And he's a Lebowski fan. Jeff, you are not merely a connoisseur. You are a beacon, a bard, a brew-born hero whose show is a frothy fountain of wit, wisdom, and wonder. Today, we at Soup and Meatballs toast to you, to your unquenchable thirst for storytelling, your uncanny knack for pairing pilsners with plot twists, and your relentless pursuit of the perfect pint. May your birthday be as rich as a barrel-aged ale, as lively as a pilsner on a summer's day, and as unforgettable as the most iconic cinematic moments. And I hope your rug ties the room together. Cheers, Jeff, the champion of cinema, the bard of brews, the birthday hero we here at Soup and Meatballs will celebrate and are honored to celebrate with you. Here's to you.
My arm was getting tired. Talk about getting old.
I wanted to do the George Say style birthday celebration for somebody whose birthday was the day we did our show. So Jeff was my old cameraman back in my TV days, and we spent many a good time driving around the city eating hoagies from gas stations.
I think I may have met him once, like years ago.
He now he has an internet show called Beer Hops and Wine Stops, I think. Oh, geez. I watched it on YouTube. He and his wife do a really good show. So I will put this little link out on the world and tag him. So hopefully he gets a chance to see it. But he does some cool stuff. And like I said, he's a Lebowski fan, so he's one of us.
Yeah, very cool. And happy birthday.
Like, he's older than me, so he's definitely, his knees crack when he stands up too.
That's kind of like our target audience.
That calling card, like, are you making noise when you stand?
Yeah. How often do you pee during the middle of the night? This podcast might be for you.
It's like, should make a T-shirt, like
the podcast is going to be like
it's 3 a.m.
by Cialis and Lipitor.
If they want to sponsor us, sure. We'll get our producer on the line to their people.
It's
That
the
means we
little
have to
blue
look at
pill.
the
That's a
commercials.
real home run hitter.
Yeah. If you're looking for some big league club. Right there. All right, bud. Hey, good show. And if we talk for another 25 seconds, we hit 2 hours and 30 minutes on the dot. So have a good week. Those of you out in internet land, have a good break. We'll be back when we're back. Until then, don't eat cold meatballs. Eat cold pizza.
Man, cold soup's not bad. Gazpacho's tasty.
Gazpacho,
Merry
yeah, there
Christmas.
you go. There you go. But happy Christmas, Merry Holidays, and all the stuff. And Tim and I will